Welcome in, I'm Artris, and in this video we're going to be going over Blue Yellow Ace, which is a leader that came from Starter Deck 13, the Three Brothers. Now this leader is an interesting one for sure. I think that it is a strange leader to come from the starter decks. Bandai does this weird thing where they release starter decks and some of the leaders that they have with these starter decks just come with absolutely no support, and you kind of have to figure out what in the hell was Bandai thinking. With Black Yellow Luffy, there's some support already existing with the Blocker Sabo, with like Red Yellow Sabo. There's some support with the Rush Luffy, arguably the two best cards to come from those colors for those leaders. However, with the Blue Yellow Ace, it's kind of in a weird spot right now because it is a decent leader. It is a Dawn ×2 activate main once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to one 5-cost character card to the top of your life face up. Then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then the second part of this is at the end of your turn, send all face-up cards in your life to the trash. So that is a decent ability, right? However, there's not much support out there right now, especially there's like zero support in blue. So why is this leader blue? Obviously the yellow part of it is the yellow brothers that come from the starter deck, but what am I supposed to be doing with this leader? Well, fear not, it is a decent leader overall because the leader ability is able to search off the top of the deck, so you can look at the top 5 cards. So it has an innate searching ability in it, which is really nice. However, back to the limited pool, we're only able to run the Three Brothers that come from the starter deck. So there's no blue cards that you can run in this that will be able to use off the ability. However, in future sets in EBO1 and then also OPO7, we're going to have some more support for this, so this gets much better by 07 because there will be a blocker ace that you can play in this that will allow you to like stack the top of your deck. But as of right now, it's kind of in a really weird spot. I will say this, when this deck gets going, it is really hard to stop. It's actually much stronger than it lets on, and I would almost argue that it is slightly stronger than some of the other decks that come from the Three Captains starter deck. So let's go over the deck list, but before we go over the reason why we chose some of these cards, if you find anything in this video useful or informative, please make sure to drop a like and a sub. That helps out the channel immensely, and I cannot thank you enough for the support. And additionally, if you'd like to talk about the One Piece card game outside of the YouTube comments, make sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description below. So getting into it, here is part of where the blue package comes in. I'm running 3 Charlotte Puddings, which this comes from OPO6. You're typically going to want to run 2 to 4 because this card is insane at what it does. I'm running 3 because I want to do like a 3-3 split with another card, but this is an on play. Your opponent returns all of their hand cards to their deck and shuffles their deck. Then your opponent draws 5 cards. So this leader is going to probably be at a 7k every turn or so. Probably hitting for like 7 to 9, and then you're going to have like your other cards that you're playing that are also hitting anywhere from 7 to 9. So your opponent's going to be taking a lot of life cards and probably very liberally as well. So they'll have a pretty big hand. And so what you do is you dink them for a few hits, and they'll have probably like anywhere from 8 to 10 cards in hand. And then you just drop a pudding and then make them drop all of the cards in their hand, draw a fresh 5. So 1, their game plan goes out the window. 2, the advantage that they had from taking the life is now gone. And 3, you're back at square one, being able to hit them for like 7 or 9, and it's going to be harder for them to counter out of because they have less cards in hand, probably less 2Ks than what they were hoarding to begin with. So that reason alone, Pudding is a very, very strong card in this deck, and you're probably going to want to run it at 4. Like I said, I'm running it at 3 because the other 3 that I'm running are Sanji's Pilaf. You could probably run this at 2 to 4. I've been testing it out at different numbers, but I think this card is also very strong, and one of the reasons why blue is just good in general is because that this card allows you to just draw 2, and it's a trigger activate this card's main effect. So if it's in life, perfect. You're able to draw 2 cards from getting hit. You can hard cast it on turn 2 if you're going first. So that's also a good play to have and kind of stack up your hand. So that's one of the advantages of blue is I think a lot of people think about blue and it's a lot of tempo and bottom decking, but the other thing that blue has going for it is card draw. So why not take advantage of that with Ace being blue with Sanji's Pilaf in the deck list. Then we're running 4 Hiyori, so the rest of this is probably going to be pretty standard, but 4 Hiyori is a 2k counter, and it's also you may put the top or bottom card of your life pile into your hand, then put up to 1 card from your hand on the top of your life pile. So you can stack different things. For instance, since you're playing the Little and Big Brothers in this deck, you can stack them to be able to use the Little Brothers effects. We'll go over these in a second. If you watched the black yellow Luffy video that I made recently, then I explained it there, but I'll explain it again in this video. You can also stack like the Three Brothers Bond, which is, this is a activate main. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 5 or less cost Sabo, Ace, or Luffy. We're running 4 of those, but that has a trigger. And then you can also do the Sanji's peel off as well. So there's a few uses for Hiyori overall, which is very nice. Then we're running a full play set of the Sabo Little Brother, the Sabo Big Brother, the Ace Little Brother, the Ace Big Brother, the Luffy Little Brother, and the Luffy Big Brother. These all synchronize very well with each other. So what they do is the little brothers, so the Sabo, the Ace, and the Luffy, what they say is activate main, you may trash this character, reveal the top card of your life. If that card is a 5-cost Sabo, or if it's a 5-cost Ace, or if it's a 5-cost Luffy, then you may play it. If you play it, up to one of your leaders gets plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. So you essentially become a 7,000 power leader for an entire turn cycle, which makes it very hard for your opponent to attack into you, at least mathematically. So that is a free 2k counter, as you can think of it in that regard. And so what the Sabo does is, it's on play, you may trash the top or bottom card of your life, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So this is good for some spot removal. Although you are a 4-life leader with this Ace, I will say that there are times that this Sabo does come in handy if you need to do a little bit of spot removal, like maybe get rid of a blocker that's in the way, or possibly get rid of a 4-cost Kuzan. Always nice to do. The Ace will then also rip off the Ace from the top of the life, which is an on play. If you have 2 or less life, this character gains Rush. So this is probably one of the strongest cards in the deck, if not the strongest card in the deck. And you're going to want to be able to play as many of these as possible. And then to talk about the Luffy, this is a 5-cost, 6,000 power body. Activate main once per turn. This character gains plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. Then if you have 1 or more life, draw 1 card and trash the top card of your life. I think this is arguably probably the weakest of the Three Brothers in this deck specifically. It's amazing in Black Yellow Luffy. However, in this deck, you're not really wanting to take as much life. You want to stay as healthy as possible. So this mostly is just going to be played down as a body. And then if you are trying to go for game, you can get that extra 2,000 power. Or you can assess the situation, and if you can take a life comfortably, then do so. But ultimately, you're going to be trying to be playing a lot of these aces instead. This is I think, the win con of the deck. Then we're running 4 Makino. This is a 2k counter, which came from the starter deck 13. It's an on play. You may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand. Look at your life cards, then return them in any order. I think this is a very situational card that you want to play down. There are times where you look at the top 5 of your deck with your leader ability, and maybe you don't have the little brother that is corresponding with the one that you found, right? And so then the Makino can come down and then grab it from the top. Sure, you're dumping a 2k from your hand, but you are getting one of the brothers back in the hand, and then also getting some information as well for what's to come out of your life, which is very useful overall. So once again, I think this is a situational card. You don't want to play it as loosely as you might play it in like Black Yellow Luffy, but overall it's a good card to have as like a backup plan in case you need to be able to save yourself in some regard. Then we're running 4 Garp. This is an on play. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Sabo, Ace, or Luffy card with the cost of 5 or less. Then put it into your hand and place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now with this deck, what you're going to want to do is look for the little brothers. You're not going to want to look for the big brothers. Typically, I'll say that, typically. I think though, for 90% of the time, I'm looking for the little brothers, because if you have a stack of little brothers in your hand and then you look at the top 5 with your leader ability, then you can put it on top and then use the little brothers. So you're just trying to get as many of the little brothers as possible, so off of your searches with the Garp and the Three Brothers Bond. We talked about the Luffys here. The other cards we have in the deck are the 5-cost Yamato. This is also a 2k counter, has Rush. I hardly ever play it. It's an on play. Look at all of your life cards. Place one of the cards on the top of your deck, then return your life cards in your desired order. Once again, this is a 2k counter. I hardly ever play this. If you're very desperate and need to go for game and you clearly can win with this, go for it. But this is a 2k counter 99% of the time. Sanji's peel off, we talked about, draw 2 cards, and the Three Brothers Bond, it's basically the Garp, but it is a event instead, and then it has the trigger ability. So overall, what you're trying to do, like I said, is you're just trying to look at the top 5 cards of the deck, get a big brother on top, and then have your hand stacked full of little brothers so that you can rip them off the top accordingly to whatever you play. So it's a strong deck for what it is if you can see what you need to see. There are times where you're just using your leader ability and then not seeing anything, and then that feels really bad. So yeah, keep that in mind. This deck is not quite where it should be right now. I think give it a little bit of time. OPO7 will make this deck a lot more competitive. And I think for the time being, it does have some good matchups overall into the meta. I think it's okay into Gecko Moria. It's fine into the other starter decks as well, especially Black Yellow Luffy. I think that this actually has a little bit of advantage against the Black Yellow Luffy leader, which you'll probably see a fair amount of people play once this starter deck comes out. I think it does okay into Reiju as well, because one thing that Reiju really does well is snipe people's hand. But the thing is, you can also just snipe Reiju's hand before they snipe yours. So that's what the puttings are for. Once again, if you want to run 4, go for it. But I'm sticking with 3 here. But that's enough about my opinions. Let's take it into the sim and see how it does. Against Yamato, this is one where you definitely have to use your leader ability as much as earthly possible. And them going first does suck for us. But we do get a search off, and we have 2 little brothers in hand. The Sabos are not really that good in this matchup because we don't want to be taking our life, but if we're able to just get bodies out, then that's good for us. So let's throw the Garp down, and because we're not seeing anything here, we only can get the 5-cost Luffy. We're just going to have to grab it, and that's totally fine for us for now. They're probably going to swing 8, and we'll have to take it because I'm not countering out of that. The only time I really want to counter out of Yamato is if they're trying to push me to 0, or if they're using a banish effect. So that is the 2 times I will do that. Take the 8. We have all 3 little brothers, which is great for us. What's also good is if we can get an ace off of this, then we can swing with the ace the same exact turn. So let's look at the top 5. We don't get any of them, but I will take a Luffy because I imagine we're not going to find too many more Luffys outside of this. So let's go ahead and get the Luffy down. Deploy this one. Now, keep in mind, you probably should have swung first in case they do have a Onami in their life, which it seems like they have some kind of trigger, so we might get instantly punished. But usually you want to swing first and then play the little brother, even though you're losing a little bit of value. But against yellow, it's kind of hard to tell, like, what's the right move here. But you don't want to throw down a body and then instantly lose it. All right, well, I guess we got a little bit lucky. They didn't use whatever trigger that they saw. That's fine for us. One thing I am a little concerned about, though, right now is we have not seen that many 2K counters. We are running 12 2K counters in this deck, and we have 1 in hand. And against Yamato, you're going to want to see as many as you possibly can. Unfortunately, we might have to counter out of a big attack here. We can do that. We can get rid of these Luffys and then play a Makino. Luckily, though, we don't have to do that. We can just get rid of the Makino and not get rid of our hand size. Now, their hand size is looking pretty juicy overall. That is something to keep in mind. I will say, though, whenever they use a Hiyori, oftentimes it's usually like an Okiku. It's usually an Okiku to come down, which is a little bit of a pain for us because we're not wanting to heal up. We're trying to play as aggressive as possible. Seeing this Rosinante, though, is a little concerning because I think we're going against the like 8-cost kid variant, which definitely is not good for us. So let's swing with our Luffy first, see what the trigger was. What the heck is this? I've never seen a Yamato use this, but okay, cool. It's the same thing, I guess, as an Onami, so that's fine for them to use that. We'll take a look at the top 5. Ugh. Oh, we don't see anything, which definitely hurts us a lot. So we'll just have to pass this along. We'll go here, swing in like that, see if they take it. They probably are going to just block. Yeah. Let's play down the Garp. Of course. That's where they're at. In this regard, I think I just want to get an ace in hand. We'll throw down a Sabo and pass. Now, this is going to hurt a lot this turn. They're probably going to go really hard at us because we're only a 5K leader right now. One of the issues, though, is that, you know, if you look at the top 5, statistically, you're probably going to find something, especially when you have, like, a lot of brothers in hand. But, man, not seeing any is a little odd. It happens from time to time. If they go 7, that'd be great for us. It's an easy counter out. If they go 8, I guess we can counter out of that as well. If they just go harder than that, I don't even know what we should be doing. If they just go all in, doesn't feel great here. 11 it is. 11 it is. And we'll have to just hopefully hit him on the crackback, right? All right, well, let's see what we can get off the top. Ace is really good for us. We'll throw that down. Let's play this. I don't want them to counter out. In fact, let's go ahead and snipe them. Go 7 here. We'll snipe their hand. I think they had like 7. So that's pretty good for us. Now, can they kill us on the crackback is the question. Depends if they get a trigger out of life here. We do have a lot of counter in hand. I'm not going to do the math right now. But there's a chance that we can actually counter out of this. They go 8. They go like, what, 13? Yeah, if they go 13, I think we can. There's a very good chance we can survive. Unless they have, like, Amaru, which could happen. It could happen. I find that the pudding play sometimes just helps the opponent more than anything at times, which definitely, you never know, but it's better to do it than not, I think, especially if they have, like, 7 cards in hand, because me swinging with the 7's probably going to be pretty easy for them to counter out of. Yeah, and then them just going all in. Because it's a 4-life leader, I think that they think that it's pretty easy to do. So let's just show them the business. Yep. And then on the crackback, they cannot survive. This is a Fishman Island type build. This is the most interesting thing I've seen. Maybe a little troll. I definitely seen Fishman Island for sure. I'm not saying that this is a bad build, but I wonder how bad the pudding hurt their hand. Because none of these cards I would want to play if I were them. So, yep. Well, that's the strength, I guess. Being able to be a 7k leader, you can counter out of some stuff. Against Moria, I think you usually want to go first. But we're going second here. This is a decent hand because we do have 2 out of the 3 small brothers. And we have 2 searchers, which is turns out to be shaped out to be a nice hand overall. I guess we'll just grab a Luffy. Keep that in mind, we do have a little Luffy, and then we have 2 big Luffys, and we just saw a 3rd one as well, so chances of getting another one's probably not very good. I think I want to grab a small Sabo and then pass. That way we're at least set up here. We're set up here to be able to probably get whatever we need off the top. Now, if they make us discard here, then we're just going to get rid of the Luffy. Not really an issue. Hey. Okay, well, the peel-off will come in handy later, so let's go ahead and just use our leader ability here. Grab the ace. We'll have to play down the ace. We're not going to be able to swing with it, though, which is a little sad. So we're going to have them require enough minusing abilities, plus also have like an Absalom or a 3rd Rob Lucci in hand. They do have Helmeppo in the trash, and 2 Rob Lucci's, good to note. The ace is a little safer than it might normally be. The other play that we can do is if they have a really big hand going into the next turn, like maybe they play down Kuzan, or maybe they shape their hand a little bit with the Sabo, we could go pudding and just give them an entirely new hand. It's often a nice play, especially if they do have like a way to shape it, right? Okay. Ace, I think they're just getting card draw off of this. I'm going to get rid of this Luffy. Actually, no. I think I'm going to get rid of the pudding. I think the pudding's fine to get rid of. Okay, they discarded a... What did they trash? Hogback, so they're getting the Moria more than likely. Well, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to get rid of the pudding, knowing they have a Moria in hand. But I think it's okay. Play the Sabo down. We'll go ahead and use this ability. Boom. I'm not going to use the ability, actually. I'm going to keep it as is. Keep kind of healthy. We'll go 9-9. Maybe maybe keeping the pudding was a good idea. We'll see what they do with this attack here. We'll likely take the attack if they go face. If they go after the ace, then I think we're safe to counter out. Well, it looks like they're going after face and then probably just getting rid of the ace regardless. That's fine. I think that's fine. We can take a hit here. Wow. They saw all 3 Lucci in the top, like, 18 cards of their deck. It's a pretty good stat there. What would be really nice, is to follow up with another ace. Oh, they're not even swinging. What? Okay. Another Ice Age is good for them. Sure. Use our ability, see what we can get. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go 7 at lead. Let's just add pressure to them, right? We're just trying to make as much pressure as possible. We'll go 9 at face. Dang, they dropped that many cards, huh? Insane. Okay, we'll just draw a few of our own. This turn, it looks like they're going to be... So they have a Moria, they have an Ice Age. I think they'll be able to get rid of both of our bodies. Because they'll go Moria, Ice Age, Moria, Lucci, Helmeppo. But then they don't have any hand size. They would have 1 card in hand at that point. I think what we want to do here is not give them the Sabo for free. What we want to do... Oh, they're just going to go... I see. Are they just going face? All right. This is the most interesting thing I've seen. They had a way to get rid of both of these bodies comfortably. We're fine with that. We'll take it. Is this them saying that they don't have it? Because this is all Ice Age for sure, right? We grab a Sabo, right? I'm pretty sure that their hand right now, let me just check. They grabbed an Ice Age off of the brand new. So this is Ice Age, and then if this is a 2K, it doesn't matter. Right? So we just swing 7. Did they feel that much pressure to go for game? I guess with 1 card in hand, at that point, playing an Ice Age Moria, it doesn't feel great, but I don't have a board, really. Okay, so they take... The most this could be would be a 2K, so we're going to go 9. And then the rest on the leader. Just to see what we got. Another ace would have been there. So, alright, well, they didn't want to see anymore. We're instantly quit out of the game, so that's what it is. On to the next. Let's take second away from Reiju. Let's mulligan this hand because I don't really like what we saw. Having 3 Sabos here is not ideal, but it's better than having a handful of big brothers, I suppose. So we'll take it. Then maybe just draw into the rest. Let's do a search. Get big Luffy and then pass. Usually what I'll do is I'll take the first hit just to kind of see what we got going on. Something to keep in mind, though, against Reiju, they do have a pudding of their own, so kind of don't want to take too many hits from them. But 7's fine. Let's get the ace. Let's just get the ace, just to be safe here. Look at the top. We get a Sabo. That's good for us. Let's swing 9. It's good for us because we have a lot of Sabos in hand. So, always love seeing that. It's going to be harder for them to swing up to me, especially Reiju being the fact that they have to minus Dawn for their leader ability to be procced. So that means less Dawn for them to be swinging into me. So what they naturally can do is play down their Ichijis and swing in. But Queen's a fine alternative as well. If we can follow this up with another... We don't. That hurts. So we're just going to go 7. What's going to really hurt is if one of these cards is pudding. Okay. We have 9 cards in hand. So this is looking very good for them to be able to use their puddings. So let's counter out of what we can if we have the ability to. So oftentimes what I want to do is if they start swinging into me, instead of just letting things go, start countering out and making it like less enticing for them to use their puddings. So they're not using a pudding play. That's great for us. They're just going to swing into the Sabo, which we might want to just defend anyway, to be quite honest. Like they might go 5 here. We want to get as many, we want to like bait away some swings here. Okay, so this is like too many counters. I don't want to do this, right? Eight's fine, I suppose. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my gosh. What is going on tonight? We'll go 7 at face. Eight at the queen. I have 2 more cards come out of hand. Past turn. They have seen 4 2Ks so far, right? Yeah, 4 2Ks. Probably have quite a lot more, I would imagine. This matchup is, I think overall, if you can see your combo piece, like it's much better, but we're getting very unlucky with our searches, which part of the deck. Go 1, 2. 1, 2. They're at 6. So this is like a judge turn probably next turn. So let's not bait that. Let's not go in and attack into the Ichiji. Let's hopefully get something off the top. We do. We're just going to go 7. 7. We'll hit him with an 8 here in a second. Eight. And a 9. We're just gonna ignore their bodies. Because I feel like this is a judge turn. They're going to 8 Dawn. They made a very suspicious play. Okay, yeah. We're gonna just counter out of these. We're gonna keep these bodies alive. They're swinging here, which means that they're feeling a little threatened, I think. So I wonder if we can actually just protect all of them, because they're gonna be able to very likely play an Ichiji again. They don't have a big Ichiji in the trash, but what they can do is fill up their trash with it. So probably put another body out on the field. Do they have the ability to do that? They do. They have this one right here. So that's good for them. So they go 5. Let's just... How many have we seen so far? Do 1K. We're going to force them. We're going to force them to swing with the queen. They have to swing with the queen here. But swinging with the queen means that they are wide open. Okay, cool. So what we end up doing is we just swing for 9s. Go all 9s. It's going to be really hard to counter out of it. So they have expended a lot of 2Ks to begin with. They probably don't have that many left. So this is probably a block right here. And another 9. So a very rough start against Reiju, but we ended up pulling it out by getting a clutch ace right when it mattered the most. So yeah, overall, I think that if you're able to find a couple of your combo pieces consecutively, then you should be okay in this matchup. Just keep in mind, they do have pudding, so if you have a big hand size, hopefully they don't snipe it. Black Yellow Luffy, I think we're okay into. I think this is a deck that if you have the pudding and you're able to get a couple of combo pieces out, then I think you're okay. So let's keep this hand. They choose to go first, which is fine. We get the draw, and then we also get the Garp search, which is pretty nice. We have a little ace, which I usually want to see anyway. That's like my favorite one to see because the big brother ace is just so good. It's just so good. So you want to see the little ones as much as possible. Like Sabo's fine, Luffy's fine, but if you see the ace, then you're like, you're chilling. 2 puddings I think is a little much, but we'll be fine. Let's grab the Sabo and pass. Next turn, we'll do a potential leader search. If we can get an ace off of it, then that's perfect for us. Even an ace just standing upright is fine because it just threatens them so much. They might go like Garp here. I've seen a fair amount, yeah. Just like put 3 on Garp and swing in. Me tossing a pudding should tell them, hey, I've got another one for you. Let's look at the top. Do we want the ace or do we want the Luffy? I think we want the ace. Swing here. 2-2, get the board as clear as possible. If they counter out of this, perfect. Didn't think they would. We'll go 9. I don't really like attacking into Black Yellow Luffy too much. I think 1 attack a turn, and then just only with your leader is fine. The reason why I chose to go ace there instead of the Luffy is we have an ace in hand and we saw one in the top 5. So that means the chances of seeing another one just dwindles. The chances of seeing another Luffy is decent. We still have an entire playset left somewhere in the deck. So seeing another one, or not the playset rather, 3 left in the deck. So that being said, you're probably going to see another one within the next 10 cards likely, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Question here is, do we want to counter out of this attack? I think we do. I think we want to counter out of this attack. We can counter out with a Sabo. Sabo's not really useful, especially when they play the blocker Sabo. Oh, they can't even attack into us. I completely forgot I'm a 7K leader. The benefits of that, for sure. So this next turn, what do we do? They're at 6 cards in hand. We just want to get them down to... Could have attacked into the Garp. Okay. Do we take a risk here? Do we Garp first, then leader ability? I think we Garp first. Grab a Sabo. Oh, nice. It's somewhat paid off, although it would have paid off the other way as well. So let's go ahead and do this. Get the Sabo down. Just swing 10. We're just trying to get them to a big hand size and 1 life. I'm not swinging with my bodies at all. I don't want to give them anything to attack into. And I want to just have them take 1 life a turn, take 1 life a turn. If they're using their cards to take life, that's good for us. That means less 2Ks in their hand for when we do go for lethal. We don't want to give them their leader ability. Keep that in mind. They're at 7. So what I want to do this next turn is get them down to 1 life. And they'll probably take it, to be quite honest. Like, if I am a Black Yellow Luffy player... Oh, weird. They might not have another play. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest, sometimes playing Black Yellow Luffy, you just don't have another play. So playing down the Yamato is is a play, but also it doesn't really synergize very well with their leader ability. I don't know. I don't know if this is like a... I mean, it's a fine card to add into Black Yellow Luffy, I suppose. Place one of the cards on the top of their deck, then return your life cards in the desired order. So they have... Do you think they have double Sabo in hand? I guess we'll have to find out. Do you think they counter out of this next one? Do we want to take this? I think we just counter out. I think we just have to like play it super safe. Look at the top. Nothing for us. We could go 7. I think we just want to play our pudding first. Because what they might do is they might counter out. If we hit this, then they're going to start countering out. So they don't want to have to counter out to begin with. So they'll probably like use a blocker Sabo and then counter out the next hit and then take 1. We don't want them to counter out is the thing. So maybe swinging first and seeing what they do is the better play, but I think this is also fine. It gives them less of a chance to be able to counter out. So they are, though. I love seeing it. Go 7 here. Dude, what do they do? Okay, they take it, but can they counter out of 8? They're probably just going to block this one. Right? They block. And then they have to have, counter out. I don't think, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not an awful play, like trying to stay alive there, but there's no way they can get through 3 life. And also these 3 cards are Sabo. There's no way. They might just be throwing like Satori's out just to stay alive. That's my guess. But even then, if they're doing that, they're not using their leader ability to the fullest. That's why pudding is just so good against Black Yellow Luffy. It's like you get this huge hand size and then you're like, okay, I have a plan, I know what to do, and then it all goes down the drain. No way. Are they doing it? Did they have like the perfect Sabo? There's no way. There's no way. They might have 1 Sabo. Okay. There's 1 Sabo. Did this pudding actually help them? They could get the other one off of this Sabo here, which that's very, very likely. But then that puts them at 0 cards in hand. Then it makes it easier for us. Just go for lethal. There's no way they attack with the other one, though. So there's at least that. This might be like 1 huge attack into like an ace. Because like the less bodies I can attack with, the better for them. All right, and we're back. The opponent had to think things through about what to do here. Looks like the final card in their hand was an impact, so it didn't matter. Looks like they're going to try to go after the Sabo now to clear the board as much as possible. But I believe I can counter out of this. 1, 2, 3. And then from there, it's just simple math, right? 7. Do we look to see if we can get a Luffy off the top? I think we do, right? I mean, why not? It's free. Free real estate here. Yeah, they have to take this or block, right? That's what they're trying to figure out right now. Do they block right here? Take it? Because if they take it, it just goes to the bottom of the deck. We can't do... Okay. I don't think we can actually go for lethal here. Yeah, we don't have anything there. So that's fine. Go 7 again. Will they block it? It doesn't really matter, right? So, I mean, this is pretty much game, but let's just go ahead and just swing. Oh, we actually can't. We kind of we messed up. We didn't have Rush. Uh-oh. That's okay. I think we're still in an okay spot, right? They have this life that is sitting there that now they can't proc their leader ability again. So I guess maybe we inadvertently ended up doing the right play by not attacking into them. So now that they can't get their leader ability off, and it makes it easier for us to go for game next turn. The only way that they can get this Sabo ripped off the top is if they have a Sabo of their own. I guess the other thing that they could do is like a Makino or like a Hiyori, but that's getting rid of the final card in their hand. And then also getting rid of their last life, which doing that, by the way, doesn't put it in their hand. It puts it at the bottom of the deck. So I think actually that was the best play, even though it felt like a boneheaded move for a second because I didn't do what I thought I was supposed to be doing. This ended up being the right play. They might just be going face. Yeah, there's kind of like, what else can they do, right? You think it's an ace? You think the final card is an ace? Get me down to 0. Do it. Let's see what they have. Could it be a blocker Sabo? No, it's an ace. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that was cool. All right, well, I think we played it pretty well. The pudding was the MVP as to be expected. This is what you want to see when you're going against Black Yellow Luffy. This is like your win con against that deck. Messing up their entire hand and then keeping some decent sized bodies on the board is a nightmare for this deck. So I have to say, I am actually really excited for OP07 when this leader gets a little bit more support overall. The things that you can look forward to over the next couple of sets with EB01 is like the Viola, which is a blocker, which puts all of your face up cards face down. So that will definitely help this deck out a lot because 1, it's a blocker, so you're having a little bit more of protection there, and then 2, you're able to use your leader ability, and if you don't have like the little brother to be able to like rip off the top brother, the big brother off the top, then you can just put the card face down. So then you're gaining life at that point. So that's really good to have going forward in EB01. In 07, you get a blue ace blocker that I believe lets you draw 2 and then put 2 back on top of the deck. So that's nice. It's a 5 cost, so you can use your ace for both the rush ace or the blue blocker. And then we also get the 5 cost Luffy, the Egghead Island one as well. So there's going to be more options, more hits for you to have going forward into EB01 and 07. So overall, I think this deck right now is in a really awkward spot, but I think that this deck might actually end up being really strong going forward in 07 for sure. Black Yellow Luffy is definitely the one that everyone looks at and says, oh, this is one of the S tier decks. And don't get me wrong, it is a really, really strong deck, and especially in 07, it's probably A to S tier. But I think Ace is nothing to scoff at. So I will be playing more of this going forward once it gets a little bit more support. And hopefully you do as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.